One Piece has been going on for 20 plus years, and in all that time we have witnessed an abundance of incredible and exciting moments, but through the many victories there have been multiple times where we could have lost a precious crew member or the crew could have been captured. Hey, what up anyone is watching, this is View with Ice, and today I'll be talking about 10 times the journey almost ended for the Strawhat Pirates. Also, please like and subscribe, and even if you don't like this video today, subscribe because maybe next time the video you are looking for will be available. Nami may not be a strong fighter, but she's easily the most important part of the crew, and she has displayed this on multiple occasions, and my absolute favorite display came very early on in the story. After being bitten by an insect in the Little Garden arc, Nami would get sick fairly quickly, and one thing about being sick is that it completely throws you off your game. But Nami, being such a great navigator and also having a natural talent at detecting changes in the weather, would save the entire crew from a monstrous storm at sea. I don't care how powerful Luffy, Zoro and Sanji are, every single one of them could have died in this typhoon. Marineford featured so many characters stronger than our MC, and he could have died on multiple occasions during the War of the Best, but the biggest threat in this arc was Akainu. Thankfully for Luffy, he was backed up by a multitude of powerhouses. His ability to bring people to his side saved him here because even his enemies did everything in their power to keep the Straw Hat captain away from the clutches of the former admiral. But he of course didn't get out of this pursuit for his life unscathed because Sakazuki gave him a scar on his chest to remember him by. Crocodile was the first character to really humble Luffy, and he did it twice in the same arc. Till this very day, Crocodile is still one of my favorite villains Luffy has faced, and it all started with the first fight in the desert. Now, the Straw Hat captain of course displayed his unlimited amount of heart, but the former warlord had to show him what the Grand Line was really about. I still don't even know how Luffy even survived this first encounter because it genuinely looked like Crocodile took the ultimate win. Nico Robin would also be a big help to Luffy after this first defeat. Luffy went at it again in a second fight and he learned from his mistakes, but the former warlord still had a lot of other tricks up his sleeve as he left Mugiwara with yet again another L, leaving him in a dehydrated state, but by luck Luffy escaped death for the second time. I know this is kind of a ridiculous thing to include, but it is one of my favorite moments. There are of course other scenes I could have included here, but I just felt like adding this one. Because even though it is one of the funniest moments ever, we could have really lost Usopp here. When Luffy, Usopp and Chopper are together, they instantly get about 500 times more stupid than usual. Chopper and Usopp are actually not idiots of course, but as soon as they are in company with Luffy, their IQ instantly drops to a ridiculous low. This was the case when Usopp thought it would be fun swimming through the clouds. Had Nico Robin not been on the crew, it would have been over because even though Luffy can stretch his body, he was basically just blindly reaching through the clouds. Robin's powers gave them the edge to eventually bring the sniper back from his falling death. The Straw Hat's journey could have been seriously cut short on multiple different occasions, and Blackbeard is responsible for 2 of those times, but something always stood in his way. At this time, Teach was a relatively unknown character. There of course have been mentions of Blackbeard before this arc, but this arc was the official introduction to one of the top villains in One Piece. Circumstance and timing was the downfall of the Blackbeard Pirates. Also, they had a terrible ship that instantly got destroyed in their pursuit. Sabaody Archipelago delivered some of the most exciting moments in a very short arc. Zoro almost killed a Celestial. We got to see all the supernova for the first time in one place. We got to see the right hand man of the Pirate King in action for the first time, and we got to witness one of the most satisfying punches in the history of anime. But there was another thing we got to see for the first time, and that was Admiral Kizaru in action. Aokiji already showcased how dangerous an admiral can be, but Kizaru would take it a step further and give us an even better taste of the ultimate strength of the Navy. Him coupled off with Sentomaru and the Pacifista would deliver the biggest L to the Strawhat Pirates. Zoro would almost be killed, but luckily they befriended the Dark King in the same arc, as Rayleigh would come to the rescue of the Straw Hats and save Zoro from Kizaru, and Kuma would ultimately get every Straw Hat to safety. There have been a lot of close calls, but it is safe to say that this was the closest one they got at this point in their adventure. Blackbeard being stopped by Ace is the second time fate intervened and saved Luffy and crew. I know people love to paint Blackbeard as a weakling simply because of their dislike of the character, but there is no way in hell that Luffy could have defeated Blackbeard at this stage in the story. This entire altercation with Ace was proof of that. At this point in the story, Ace could have soloed the entire Straw Hat crew, and that same powerful Fire Fist Logia powered Ace would be single-handedly defeated by Marshall D. Teach. This fight is one of the biggest reasons why Luffy is my favorite anime character. He basically had no chance of winning against the former prison warden, but still went up against a Doku Doku no Mi user with no fear. Magellan was far above Luffy, and his Devil Fruit ability is by far one of the most dangerous powers to ever be introduced in the story, so naturally Luffy had to take an L. And due to the amount of exposure to poison, Luffy could have died here. Luckily for him, Bon Clay was there to help him and ultimately found Ivankov, who would save him with the hormone treatment. I bet if you ask 1,000 One Piece fans to mention 10 of the greatest character moments in One Piece, the majority of them would bring up the time that Zoro took Luffy's pain. Zoro has had badass moments since the absolute beginning of this never-ending series, and he continues to have incredible moments, but this is easily in his top 3 most iconic moments ever. Kuma gave him a small taste of Luffy's pain, and just that little bit already looked like it was gonna kill him. But him being the ultimate badass would dive in head first and take every bit of Luffy's pain. This was the biggest display of his loyalty, and it also showed to us just how tough he was, because if he wasn't, this would have been the last time we saw Zoro. I know I said 10 moments, but I'm gonna give an honorable mention. Out of all the near-death situations in One Piece, this is easily the stupidest way to die, and that is actually saying a lot, because even in this video, I have included some of the most ridiculous near-deaths to be found, but this surely has to be the one to take the cake. Sanji, the ultimate simp master, finally got to be in the presence of a beautiful mermaid, and the boob contact was just too much for the cook to handle, and he proceeded to get the biggest nosebleed in the history of One Piece. Pervy nosebleeds are a thing that can be seen in a vast majority of anime, and it is always treated as something comical, but this time it turned into a serious situation because Sanji really almost died. He even had to get a blood transfusion because of the massive amount of blood loss.